Hey everyone, welcome to Data Millennials. I am Atul, and in this video we are going to discuss how we can apply or use if function within a calculated field in Looker or Google Data Studio. So as you can see here in this table we have quantity sold, unit price and profit field. But if I'll show you my raw data in this GDS64, you can see over here that we have category, date, quantity sold, unit price, last bought price and change in price. But we do not have any column which says whether there is any profit or not. But assume that somebody comes to you and say that we have to calculate the profit value based on the categories that we have over here. Now there might be a situation where they can say that if category is within 1, 2 or 3, then the profit that we are getting is 10% of the actual unit price. Okay, and if category is not in 1, 2, 3, then the profit value is 25% of the unit price. So in such a scenario we can use the if function, and that's what we are going to do in this video. We will be creating this table that you see on your screen, this table, and after creating this table we are going to apply or use the if function as a calculated field from scratch, so that you can get an idea that how you can use the if function with calculate field to return a value based on a certain conditions. We will also create this graph where we'll show the profit value against the unit price. Now before we create this calculated field, let's understand about the if function. So I have the syntax over here. So the if function is a conditional function in Looker, and it returns a value based on a conditional expression. If defines a condition and returns a result when the condition is met, and it will return a different result if that condition is not satisfied or if that condition is not met. So if we talk about the syntax, then we have the function name over here which says if, then we have bracket, then we have these arguments. Let's talk about the argument. Okay, so the first argument is condition. It is an expression which gets evaluated. So condition can be any boolean expression. Then we have this true result. This true result is the value which will get returned if this condition is true. Then we have this false result. So the false result is the value which will get returned if the condition doesn't met or if the condition is false. So as we have understood about the function and understand about the syntax of this function, let's go and create a calculated field with if function. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this edit button and I'm going to add a new page over here. Now whenever you create a new report, you need to import data. And if you want to import data, what you can do is that you can click on add data, and wherever your data is residing, you can basically select that Google connector from here and import your data into your report. Now as I have already imported this data over here in this report, I don't need to import it, but you can come over here on add data and import your data. Now what I'm going to do first is that I'm going to replicate this table. Now in order to replicate this table, I can come over here on add a chart, select this table, and the moment you will select this table, Looker will allow you to add a table in your empty canvas. And you can see that by default this table has taken a data source which is GDS67, which is over here GDS67, and I don't need to change it. But if you want to change or update your data source, you can come over here in your setup section, click over here and select the data based on your requirement. Then it has selected dimension and record count as a metric. So let's keep it as it is right now. But over here, if I go to my page 1, you will see that we have quantity sold, unit price and profit field. So over here in this table, I'm going to select quantity sold as my first metric, unit price as my second metric, and the third metric that I need to give is the profit value. And this profit value will be calculated based on an assumption saying that if the category is category 1, 2, 3 in this field over here, so category is 1, 2, 3, then the profit value is 10% of this unit price. If it is 4, 5 or anything else, then it will be 25% of the unit price. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a calculated field. I can also create a calculated metric over here, but that calculated metric will only be useful for this pivot table. I won't be able to use that calculated field metric in my graph which I'm going to create after completing this table. So it's always better to create a calculated field in your data so that you can use that calculated field column in any of your visualization visit. So I'm going to create calculated field in my data. In order to do that, I have to click on add a field. Then the first thing that Looker will ask me is the field name. So I'm just going to give the field name as profit value. Within this profit value, I have to give the formula, my if formula. So I'm going to give if. The moment you will write if, you will see that you have the Looker IntelliSense working and it will show you the if function. The first argument within this if function is the condition. So the condition is that if category, the category column in my raw data is equal to category 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to say if category in category 1, I'm just going to copy this and put 2 more times, or category 2 or category 3, then we have to calculate the 10% of the unit price. So I'm going to give unit price column over here as unit price into 10%. So I can put 0.10, which is 10%. Now, if my category is in 1, 2, 3, then I'm able to calculate the 10% of the unit price, which will give me my value as a profit value. But if it is not 1, 2, 3, then it's 25% of the unit price. So I'm going to again say unit price into 0.25 as the profit value, and then I can come down and click on save. Once you will see that the calculated field is saved, then you can click on finish and you will see in your data you have a new column over here which says profit value. Now if I take this profit value and put it over here in my metric, you will see that now you were able to calculate the profit value based on the condition that you have given, that if the category is 1, 2 or 3, then take 10%, and if the category is 4, 5, then you have to take 25%. So as a simple test, what we can do is that we can calculate the percentage over here. But let me increase the size first. Okay, so as you can see over here, for category 1, the unit price is 7,232, and as per our condition, we had given 10% of this unit price. So 10% of this unit price is 723.29, which seems correct. Similarly, for category 2, we have 8487. 10% of 8487 is 848.7, which is true. Similarly, for category 3, we have 8726 as unit price, and 10% of this value is 872.61, which is our profit value. So your condition is evaluating correctly and it is giving the result output correctly over here. Now if we check category 4 and 5, which is not equivalent to category 1, 2, 3, then we had given the profit value will be 25% of the unit price. So if you calculate 25% on your system or on your calculator, you will get 2257 is actually the 25% of 9031, and 25% of 7712 is actually 1928. So your if condition is working absolutely correct over here, and you're getting the desired output over here. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to replicate this graph over here. So in order to add a graph, you can click on add a chart and you can select any graph, but I'm going to select this stack bar chart and I'm going to put it over here. Let me increase the size of this graph. Okay, now in this dimension, I'm just going to keep the category as it is. Breakdown dimension, I'm going to remove it. Now for this metric section, I'm going to take two values. The first value is unit price, and then the second value is profit value. So as I have told you earlier, that if you had taken or you have created the profit value as a calculated metric field in this table, you won't be able to take that profit value over here in another visualization visit. But we had created this profit value in our data as a calculated field. That's why we were able to use it over here. The only difference within this graph and this graph is that the color difference, else everything is same and the data points are given in our previous graph. So let's go and change this color to red and this one to black. Okay, and we are going to select show data label and stacked bar, or let's keep it as it is. Okay, now this graph looks similar to this graph that we have over here. So this is how basically you can use if function within a calculated field to return a value based on a conditional statement. Happy learning and see you in the next video.